Hi, welcome to Wednesdays with Wade. We have a situation with our son and daughter-in-law's house they just recently purchased where the condensation that gets created from the furnace is routed in a rubber hose or plastic PVC hose all the way across the basement and goes into the sump pump. This is a relatively dry house, and this is the only moisture that's going into the sump pump, and it can generate several liters a day, both the furnace and the air conditioner as they operate. So it's going into the sump pump, and then the sump pump's evacuating it out into the yard, and that is creating a freezing situation out there as the weather gets cold. So we thought, rather than having the sump pump do only this feature, we're going to reroute it a little bit. Normally, the comes out of the furnace or the air conditioner and goes into a PVC tube, and hopefully there's a floor drain close by and you can put it right down into the floor drain, and that's the end of the issue. There's no floor drain in this house, on this whole half of the house, so we're going to create a pump. And this is a condensation pump, so it'll receive the moisture as it goes in and gets created by the furnace and the air conditioner, and then through a tube it'll pump it up, and we can direct it anywhere that we want it to go in the basement. So we're going to send it over to the sink and let it drain in there, and it'll just go out through the normal sewer system. So allows us to not have water going through the sump pump. So this is probably more of a project than most home handy people want to tackle, but what I really want you to know is that it's an option. If you've got a condensation tube that's in the middle of a walkway or going in some awkward place, or the kids continually kick it out of the drain in the floor, I want you to know that this is an option. And the next time you bring your HVAC person out to do a tune-up on your furnace, tell them you'd like to have a pump installed, and a condensate pump. And it just goes right on the side of the furnace, receives it, and then it can go. Again, this isn't all about how to do it, because I'm not a plumber or an electrician or an HVAC expert, but I want you to know that it can be done. Whether you've got the skills to do it or up to you, or not, or is up to you. But here we have the finished product. So I've got this condensation line that used to run over to the drain, comes directly into here. And then this was the air conditioner one that, again, coupled up with that, went over to the not the drain, rather, to the sump pump. And that I rerouted over to this side, and that comes into this feed hole. And now we've got a little container here that collects all the water, and then it's going to pump it back out. When the float triggers, it's going to pump it up. It'll go to here, and I ran the line across the garage, across the basement, and then down into the sink. And it'll be taken out with the regular sewer water. So that's really it. You can get more fancy. You can hook this up to your thermostat and to your power. So if it overflows and the switch doesn't trigger, it'll shut the furnace off. This one, we're not going to do that. It does have an alarm feature. So if it comes up, you'll at least hear an alarm. So if you're home, you'll want to come down and see. Occasionally these tubes get clogged up just with growth in there. And every couple of years they need to be blown out with compressed air, or the tubes replaced, which is a relatively easy job. But that happens in all of them. I didn't keep a piece of that, but the tube that was already here is probably only a year or two old, and you can see there's already growth coming in there, and plugs it up. And then it all backs up and water will run out, or your furnace will shut down depending on the style of furnace. So that's really it. Again, lift pump for the condensate works for any HVAC system, and allows you to take the byproduct condensate water and take it wherever you want, versus having to run a tube across the ground. So now it's all cleaned up. There's no tube going into the sump pump. There'll be no sump pump discharge out onto the frozen ground, and we won't have to deal with that. Thank you for joining Wednesdays with Wade, and I hope this gives you one more idea to take a little step forward as you improve your house.